So it's time for a preview of the February 10th edition of AEW Rampage, live from El Paso. And we got AEW talent featured in the ring with Kyle O'Reilly and Isaiah Scott. But tonight, we will hear from Mark Briscoe, likely about the status of the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships, as we have not seen Mark since his match with Jay Lethal last week, I believe, in a tribute to his brother, Jay. Jungle Boy will also be in action. It's been sparse since we've seen Jungle Boy, but he's been recently teaming with Hook and feuding with the Firm. So that's interesting. I mean, it's always interesting when we see the Firm, but also tonight, Ruby Soho against Marina Shafir, as Ruby is, in my opinion, one woman that AEW would be smart to keep investing in and moving forward. Keep investing in moving forward, as somebody is going to end up needing to beat Jade Cargill at some point because she can't keep winning. And it's not that I'm not a fan of Jade Cargill, it's that every undefeated streak needs to end eventually. 6-man tag team action as the Blackpool Combat Club goes against Kip Sabian, the Butcher, and the Blade in, the first time we've seen the Blackpool Combat Club compete in trios action in quite a while. I mean, in my opinion, part of me wants to say that Mox deserves some time off after the crazy schedule he's kept and how much he's given to AEW over the last year. I think that vacation that Mox was supposed to take after All Out, now would be the time for him to take it if he possibly could. But that's just me. Also, tonight, All-Atlantic Champion, aka the champion of Rampage, Orange Cassidy, will defend the championship against Lee Moriarty, aka the Firm's Lee Moriarty. And no, I did not say that after, before it, where I said that it's always fun to see the Firm. I said it before I saw that Moriarty was featured on tonight's episode of Rampage. I mean, I think that the best thing Rampage can do is be the show that talent that aren't featured on Dynamite, that should be featured on Dynamite, are featured in. Meaning, if you want to push this feud, on Dynamite, then push the other feud on Rampage. Push a different feud on Rampage. I mean, I think that could be what AEW is doing. As I mentioned, Jungle Boy against the Firm. I'll also mention that Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal have been feuding with, I believe, Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. Also, Ruby Soho in the women's division, I think I remember her having some bit of a, some words or some form of a disagreement with Saraya and Toni Storm. Again, I could be wrong. I don't necessarily remember. So I'm also a firm believer in confrontation, or segments are sometimes better at pushing the feud than just having matches, because sometimes talent gets tired, or the fans, I should say, get tired of just seeing matches and not seeing anything else, because you want to save the match sometimes for the big show, as opposed to just putting out the match, unless it's going to be a short feud, that you gotta save the match sometimes. And if you're going to save the match, you got to figure out a different way to put out, a different thing to put out, or whatever the case may be. Segments help. I know some people don't like segments. I know some people don't like false finishes, countouts or disqualifications or dusty finishes, or dirty finishes, but dirty finishes are like the finish from last week on Dynamite, where the Guns won the tag team titles. That's a good finish, because it's supposed to make you angry. It's supposed to piss you off. It's supposed to make you upset, and it's supposed to build sympathy for the Acclaimed and make you hate the Guns a little bit more. That's what people forget, that those segments or those finishes are supposed to do that, because they're supposed to get you irritated. They're supposed to get you invested, and the reaction of you getting pissed off is the desired reaction. But again, as we wrap up, I don't know what we're going to hear from Mark Briscoe. I hope it's that he may show up a little bit more often on AEW programming, but also I hope it's something positive, because, negative, we've got enough negative to, for a long time. It's always good to see Jungle Boy in action. Ruby Soho is one of the top women in AEW. The Blackpool Combat Club could be capable challengers for the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega for the Trios Championships, which, just throwing it out there, BCC versus the Elite, that would be a barn burner in my opinion. Revisiting the feud between Kenny Omega and Mox would also be something worth doing, because those two have banging chemistry with each other, as long as it's not a barbed wire match. And Orange Cassidy, it's like I said, he's the champion of Rampage. But this has been my preview for the February 10th edition of AEW Rampage. Don't forget, Rampage tonight on TNT. And if you're looking for Friday wrestling, you have Rampage and SmackDown. SmackDown first, 8 to 10, and then Rampage on TNT starting at 10 p.m. And if you're a fan of Orange Cassidy, he's back home on AEW Rampage tonight defending his championship, the All-Atlantic title. All that and more tonight on AEW Rampage. This has been my preview, and I will see you in the next video.